Welcome everyone to the rapid advance of construction technology. I'm Mike Miller, along with Bob Paradise, the owner of Attain Technology. And today Bob's going to share a lot of insight on construction technology and why it's so important right now. I mean, there's a lot happening in the industry and just in the economy as a whole. And, I think Bob has a unique perspective on it and has a lot of information that can help construction companies increase their productivity, cut costs, and really, you know, increase their profits. So, like Bob, if you could, share what's going on in the marketplace or in the industry right now that's really creating a need for technology? Is it the pandemic? What is it?
So let me take a step back for a moment, Mike, and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and say
Yes.
that I'm grateful for everybody that's attended. Um, this is the time of year that we should be very grateful for everything we have, and such a strong economy from a construction industry in such a time of pandemic is insanity, right?
Yeah.
And so that leads me into the intro in the sense that, well, what do I see coming, right? Well, we have $1 trillion of construction money about to hit the United States. 22, 23, maybe some of it in 2024. But we're already dealing with a construction market that has struggled to get labor. And we're going to add $1 trillion of projects to that market during this unparalleled time of need. And a lot of the reasons why there's no construction labor available is we push all our kids to college every day so that we're not pushing the trade skills anymore. So nobody has a trade skill. No one desires a trade skill anymore because we say college is the way to go, college is the way to go, college is the way to go. Coupled with, especially during COVID, the high retirement amount of, the boomer age and my generation, they're all starting to retire, and COVID just exponentiated that. So really, from a technology in a labor market, it's going to push the paradigm. But also, we're talking about unprecedented adoption of technology to cut costs, to make projects more efficient. And as construction companies adopt these technologies, the big ones are going to adopt faster and sooner than the little ones. And if the companies that don't adopt will be pushed to the margins. We'll end up with low margin jobs and won't be able to compete for the real work that they want. So really, that's the reason why we need to look at construction technology, evaluate it, and decide what's right for you. A lot of it is in its infancy stage, but I see a ton coming. Every day I start searching construction technology because it's my passion. It's something that I really love to do. And I find things like TieBot, right? So they set up this construction platform on a bridge, and then this bot goes down and ties all the rebar. And in that construction project, they didn't lay off a single person, right? So you're thinking, oh, machines replacing man. Well, in this case, they just took the people that would tie the rebar and put them on laying the rebar to stay ahead of the bot. So they didn't lay anybody off. They finished the construction job early so they could move on to a new project to make money. And they came in under budget. I mean, that makes everybody happy. Early and under budget, those are like church bells to everybody's ears. So,
Right.
And that's what technology is going to afford. I see a couple other technologies coming down the pike, and if you really look at the industry, construction industry is really ripe for technology in this day and age. Forever and ever, they used to be the slow adopters, but that can no longer be. Mike, you read a McKinsey report, and so did I, about how construction companies are going to start being consumed by the bigger guys, and the industry is going to consolidate over the next 5 years. So you have to decide: are you going to be a consolidator or a consolidatee, right?
Right.
Or are you going to be left on the margins? And so that's why I really love construction technology. It's pretty amazing with some of the things they come out with. In the old days, if you look behind me, there's a picture of two guys on a lull. Well, at one point, that was construction technology, right? That was like the amazing thing, right?
Right.
I mean, all throughout time, if you look at tools have just improved over time. At one point they used to hand drill everything, right? Now they come up with an electric drill. It doesn't stop. However, construction companies haven't had to keep up with the pace of the rest of the world with technology until now.
Why? So I want to go back to some things you said, but why? Why do you think that construction companies haven't kept up with technology?
For a long while, there was no need. There was no competitive pressure there, right?
Okay.
And a lot of construction companies got set in their ways. This is the way we do it, right? This is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to do it. And it was pretty successful. And then a couple of years ago, we started seeing like prefabricated walls. Probably like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we started seeing prefabricated walls, prefabricated floors, prefabricated trusses. And that was really, if you really think about it, you don't think about that as technology, but really that was a huge technology push into the construction industry. And the reason I say that is because they were building these things in the factory and they were shipping them out on trucks. So when they arrived to the site, they could just be stood up and put in place and move along. So they moved the construction job faster, made it more efficient. And those technologies didn't lay off people either. They just assigned them to do different tasks, right? Mm-hmm. So really, we're just in a new era of construction technology. And now it's not just the walls and the floors and the trusses, but everything's on the line. If you look at, there's a technology out there called SAM, and it's semi-automated masonry. And it butters the brick, lays it, butters the next brick, lays it, butters the next brick, and it stacks up the wall, and then you just have someone follow it up and clean it up and manage that second process. So that's why it's semi-automated. It doesn't do the whole thing, but it does the tough job, right? That same company makes a mule so they can lift the cinder blocks, and it makes the cinder block like it doesn't weigh anything, and to be able to stack them. It's just technology today to allow people to move faster, easier, not wear the people out, and to do more with less, really.
Right. Yes, it is. And those are amazing technologies as well. And so I was going to go back to the labor shortage. So the U.S. Chamber says that there's 330,000 construction jobs that are unfilled. Like, construction companies need these people desperately, but they're unfilled.
Oh, and I definitely believe that in with my clients. So that a good portion, like 60% of my clients are in the construction industry one way or another. And I'm starting to hear about companies that I work with looking to acquire companies, not to acquire the company and the profitability of the company, but to acquire the talent within the company. So we're starting to see a fold and a change into mindset. And, as these bigger companies as well start to struggle with labor, they're going to start to acquire. So that's also going to happen with the consolidation. That's happening because the bigger companies are going to want the labor, right?
Right.
So, again, we can embrace technology. We can find ways to do more with less, more efficiently, better, easier, and more cost effective.
Right, right. So, going back to the McKinsey article, I like McKinsey. So they're a global consultant, right, for multiple industries. So, like if Delta Airlines wanted to, figure out whether they should do a new route, they'll call in McKinsey. They're a massive, a major player, right, in consulting. Anyway. In 2014, they did a report. They did research and made a report and talked about the future of the U.S. Workforce. And they went out over 30 years, and they said, and this was what was interesting to me, they said that almost every industry would be automated. But the thing is that the construction industry, or plumbers, electricians, it would be hard to automate those, because you can't get a robot to go on site, and figure out what wiring needs to be fixed and to actually make the fix and climb stairs and all of that stuff. But now we do have robots in the construction industry, And the other thing that's of note is that the most recent report of McKinsey discussing the construction industry specifically says that there's a 5-year time frame, right? Instead of the 20 to 30 years that they usually talk about, they're saying that all of this technology and the whole industry is going to shift within 5 years. And this Hilti Jybot is evidence of it. But this doesn't this isn't autonomous, right? This requires setup and it requires people to utilize it.
No, actually, this is an autonomous piece of equipment.
Okay.
So it does require somebody to set it up on site, but in the programming, they have all of the drill points laid out, and that bot can go around on each level and drill all those autonomously, right?
Okay.
But you have to set it up. So you have to give it its parameters. You have to give it its environment. There are some pieces of equipment that are just remote controlled, but this Jybot can be semi-autonomous.
Wow. Nice. And see, that's the interesting thing about it, because when you think about so these workers here that are using it, they're obviously skilled, right? So you usually think of construction workers as, people with strong backs, but they're actually quite skilled, and that might be part of the reason why the labor shortfall.
Well, there are skilled, and so one of the things in automation is going to allow more skilled labor back at the office, more of those college educated folks back in the office, because you'll need to program this in a 3D model, like a BIM model, so that the machine can go do this semi-autonomous job, and that can all be done in the office. The site people can set up the site and make sure that there's GPS markers and all of that you need to put in place to make sure that the bot knows where it is and all of that. But it's going to be a mix of skilled and unskilled labor, as it always has been, but a lot more of the work is going to move to the skilled, right? So yes. Even with like the semi-automated mason or another technology we're going to talk about in a little bit, TieBot, a rebar tying system, it all requires programming. It all requires 3D models, and that we'll get back. We'll do that in the back office.
Okay.
And the field people will set the machine up, set it up, but maintenance of these things and updates of these things and for security for these things, we'll always need skilled labor and programming as well. So.
Right. That's what it seems like, and so that's one of the articles I was reading. Doing research for this, basically said that it's the skilled labor that they really need, that construction really needs, but that is missing.
Well, right now, my clients are facing, when I ask them where their labor shortages are, project managers, estimators, site supers, the really people that have talent and skill, those are the people that are disappearing from the construction industry, right? Construction industry is unlike any other industry. It's a little bit rougher. It's not as finessed. These kids that come out of college, construction is not on top of their mind. Most construction companies get started because somebody's passionate about construction. Somebody loves construction. And really, you need to love construction because you need to understand the way it operates. It's unlike any other industry, right? Any other business in the country. Their model is different, and to tell you the truth, it's laden with high risk, and the risk is going to exponentiate with technology and with labor shortage. I mean, we're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into these technologies, and if they're not implemented, or if they're only halfway implemented, you're not going to get your full investment. So really, if you make the commitment, make sure that there's good follow through, good metrics to measure the project all the way through to make sure that we achieve the goal, right? Because you get this nice Hilti Jybot, and that's great, but unless you put a good processes and procedures in place and start programming every job with it, you know, that piece of equipment is going to sit with the 20 other pieces of equipment in your warehouse and just be a cost center. So it's not just about technology. It's easy to say I want to buy technology, but implementing it is the difficult part. You don't know how many pieces of software I see companies buy, and 3 years later they dump it because they realize either it's not for them, or they didn't have the commitment to get it done, or they didn't have the right people on the job. So these are all things that we can guide our customers through in the process.
Yes, exactly. And that's an important point, because so if you buy this, and you have another example that really illustrates the cost savings, with the bridge, right? Was that Tybot? Yes.
Tybot, yeah.
Yes. So this really has, like, the cost savings. So what was the story? They saved so much money, and they were like weeks ahead of schedule, and that was like the money they saved. It was easily, you were able to easily afford the robot just on the
Yeah.
one job.
First of all, the robot's not that expensive. I think the robot, and don't hold me to this, but I think the robot was like $100,000 or somewhere in that neighborhood. And it ships on a 40-foot trailer, right? So heck, and if it's an existing bridge and it has rails already, it can use the existing rails too, or you can set up rails if you need to. But it finished the project early, like weeks and weeks early, and 15% under budget. It's insanity, right? If you look at the truck down there, that's the truck you need. You don't even need a tractor trailer to transport it to the site. Like, it's amazing that technology is happening. And think about this. So now your big part of your construction job is bridges, and you're going up against this guy, but this guy knows that you're bidding, and he knows about what you usually bid on these bridges. This guy has 15% he can bid against you, right? He could take some of his margin and put it back into the bid to win that bid over you, right? Yes. Next thing you know, this guy's going to be acquiring you not for your technology or not for your company list, but this guy's going to be acquiring you because he needs more labor, because he's getting more projects, because he's less expensive, right? So
right. I think you might have just said something important. Maybe the reason that all of these companies will be consolidating is because they need the labor.
It is true. They're going to either need the processes, the labor, or the customer list. And usually it's one of the three: technology, processes, customer list, or labor. And all of those can be a bonus. If you find a good company that does them all well, most likely they're going to be an acquirer, not acquiree.
Yes. So it's just amazing to me that you can buy technology like this, and basically it'll pay for itself on the first job.
Yeah, the construction company that bought this Tybot said that the 15% savings on the project was well worth the bot, and it paid for itself in that one use. So the next time they use it, that bot's paying them back.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. If you save 15% of labor on a project, right? What is that worth you? First of all, in a tough labor market, that's outstanding, right? But not only that, but 15% of labor, that's your highest cost item. So yes, and people are happier, because tie and rebar is such a monotonous task. I mean, laying it is still strenuous too, but it's a lot less monotonous than tying rebar. Going down with the gun.
Yep, exactly.
And the thing is that these bots will work 24/7. Go home at night, it's tying rebar at night, right? You're sleeping.
Right.
And so you take advantage of that 24 cycle. How do you think they finished early? Like, the bot wasn't any faster than human, it just worked a lot more.
Right.
And you didn't have to give it lunch breaks and bathroom breaks and girlfriend breaks and whatever else.
Exactly. I think they said it'll do 1,100 joints or unions. I forget the term. 1,100 an hour.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, that's insane.
Pretty soon pretty soon we're going to go to jail for abusing bots, right? Because we're going to use it 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. They'll want their own unions. Um, so
The bot union.
yeah, can you imagine? I believe it'll happen probably. You mentioned the infrastructure bill, and I'm assuming that infrastructure means bridges and roads and government buildings and things like that.
Yep, bridges, roads, government buildings, train stations. There's broadband infrastructure. There's a ton of money out there. Massachusetts and Rhode Island, between the two, are expected to get about $15 billion pushed into their economy in 2 years. Like, it's just insanity, the amount of money that's going to come into this economy. And if you really think about it, right, even if you don't do bridge work and you don't do train stations, you don't do public work, what that's going to cause is that those contractors are going to be busier doing that work, and they're going to take less of the commercial construction jobs because they'll be out straight doing some of these other projects. So some of the work that would have normally gone to some of these bigger contractors like Gilbane, Suffolk, and all that is going to go to some of these other contractors. So this is a prime opportunity to take advantage of the market at a cost, right? I mean, but by all means, this is going to cause a huge labor problem, right?
Right.
Put all that money into the system, that labor's got to come from somewhere, right? You're hiring now, right? You got 5 more projects than you normally handle. You need 5 more projects worth of people. And these aren't little projects, right? These are going to be big projects, multi-million-dollar projects.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. So it seems like the technology like this is going to be necessary in order to offset the shortfall of labor.
Well, wait, it's only going to be necessary if you want to survive. If you really don't care and you want to be on the margins, then don't invest in technology. You can still do it the old-fashioned way, and there'll be a demand for that somewhere, but it's going to be low-margin work, right? So,
yes, yes, exactly. Well, it just makes me think that with the shortage of labor and the fact that as you said, the people with the skills are retiring, and the pandemic made that more, like, because of the pandemic, the people who were right on the edge of retirement just decided, okay, I'll go ahead and retire. And then you have supply chain issues across the world, especially like with steel. And so then Australia said something to China, like, you guys should figure out why the pandemic started. And then China boycotted all of Australian coal, which is how they make the steel, which made a shortage of steel. And then we started applying tariffs to the steel. And so now you got like this snowball effect. And it seems to be hitting the construction industry from multiple sides.
Oh, it's hitting the construction industry from all the sides. And let's forget about the labor shortage, but the increased labor pressure is going to raise wages, right?
Yes.
So projects are going to cost more, right? And in the long term, that's not a problem because you'll be able to estimate for the increased wages. But the jobs you have now and in the short-term future, that will cause some short-term pressure because you'll be quoting jobs and then labor rates will go up, and labor is the number one cost in construction, right? So really, the more you can take advantage of construction technology that reduces your labor is a no-brainer. And
yes.
It's a culture, right? You're going to become the next gen company. Are you going to become the next gen construction company and adopt technology to do this for you? It's not just a one-off, right? So today it's TieBot, tomorrow it's semi-automated masonry, the next day it's JIBot, because eventually you'll become a technology company that does construction, right? Because that's how you'll survive, and that's how you'll compete, and that's how you'll become an acquirer instead of an acquirer.
Right. Yes.
I don't even know if those are 2 words, Mike, but
well,
my
I
construction
understand.
clients will give me some grace on that.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I understand what you're saying, you know. And you got to think about all of the like the 3D printing that's coming along. Um, you could print buildings. I mean, there's a lot of technology that's coming out. And it makes me wonder, so like we talked about the upside and we only have a few minutes left, but for this lunch webinar, we've talked about the upsides. I mean, yeah, look at this. That mule makes lifting, it's weightless. You just have to like with a finger push it wherever you want to go. Um, so there's some definite upsides to the technology. The downsides, what are they? They seem to be like if you only use it once and you never use it again. Um, maintenance.
Maintenance, firmware updates, more skilled labor to maintain the equipment.
Hmm.
You get a piece of equipment. I mean, there's downsides, right? You get a piece of equipment on a job site, it's not working. You're expecting TieBot to tie the rebar. Now you have a problem, right?
Right.
Now you got your field guys on the phone with the support, and they're working out the issue. But you got to get that bot up and running. So there are some downsides, but the more we adopt technology, the more ingrained in that technology, the more sophisticated we'll become with those things. We'll have people that know how to troubleshoot them. We'll have people that know how to talk the language of troubleshooting the TieBot or the JIBot or the SAM. So it'll all come full circle. It's just like when we started adopting technology in the 70s and 80s, right? First it was punch card computers, and now look at us. We carry these devices around with us. They're
Yes.
stronger than any computer. Put it this way, I could use this computer to go to the moon because it's like 1,000 times stronger than any NASA computers currently that
Right.
leave the country, right? So it's amazing the way technology's come, and it's amazing where it's going. Pretty soon I want to be like, beam me up, Scotty.
Yes. Yes.
I want to travel
Exactly.
across the country in a matter of seconds, not hours.
Can you imagine? I think it can happen. They have a flying car now, the Jetson.
Yeah,
Um,
like a Jetson. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not
Um,
flying in that car, by the way.
no.
I think about, oh, it just got into an accident on the road and you didn't know about it. Next thing you know, you're going to fly and it doesn't work. I'm all set with that technology, but you know,
Yeah, I
my
agree.
life's on the line here.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Um, it's it seems incredible the technology that's coming out nowadays and the way that construction companies can use it. And it's interesting that it takes so right now it's a skilled labor shortage in the construction industry, but what we're really talking about is more like you're saying more skilled labor who are not just laborers but operators of the technology.
Oh, I agree. Let's think about this. I just read an article recently about how this company is working on automating site equipment, right? So that it can be operated remotely. So they're putting all of these sensors and cameras and speakers and microphones in the device. And this guy in Chicago is going to be sitting in an office building under air conditioning doing your site work for you. And you're only going to have to hire that guy while you need them, right? So you know how you used to have to hire a site guy and he'd sit around 6 hours waiting for something to do on the site, and then, oh, it's ready, let's go, right?
Yeah.
Uh, those days are gone, right? Eventually, you'll just call up this office. Okay, you'll get the next operator. They'll throw an operator on it. They'll do what you need to do. That's end. Okay, you owe us 3 hours of operator time. Call it a day. So
Wow.
it
Yes.
is pretty amazing. I just saw an article the other day where they took this. It was like an 8x8 box, and really they were able to make a whole house, an 800 square foot house in this 8x8 foot box. It just unfolded and all the pieces folded up. And when they were done, it looked beautiful. Like technology is going to rapidly decrease our construction costs and increase our availability.
Wow. That sounds like the Transformers. It just unpacks the whole house.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it was a small house. It was only 800 square feet, so it wasn't like they brought in this 250,000 square foot house or anything like that. But
Yeah, but I mean, it's a studio apartment. That's
yeah,
excellent. That's
they had a
incredible.
bathroom, a shower, a kitchen, a
Wow.
living room, and a bedroom. It was amazing. They
That
fit a lot in
is.
the little space.
Yes. Well, just as an aside, I heard that Elon Musk is living in a manufactured home that was built on an assembly line. Like you were talking about, the technology that came to the construction industry first was really that the modular, but an assembly line idea. And anyway, Elon Musk is living in one on the property of the Gigafactory in Texas, so he doesn't have to pay any rent. So I thought that was interesting.
That's why he's a billionaire, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Must be nice. Um, anyway, well, I don't know if I've asked every question. Is there anything else that you feel like is really important? Because this is an amazing subject. And if you're a construction company and you're not thinking about technology and how to utilize, automate and utilize robotics and, to help offset the labor costs, also reduce costs and increase the time or, speed up the time it takes to actually build, then you definitely should be. And hopefully, this is a a shot across the bow or a warning. Like just telling construction companies to do that. Do you think that, like, with your clients, what percentage of them are actually currently utilizing some form of technology like this too?
Well, Mike, all of them from one way
Really?
or another, because otherwise I wouldn't have them as a client, right? So a lot of my clients are still using the back office communication things, stuff like Procore, HHR, field of communications, timber scan, way automate the processes. I mean, this really construction site automation is really new in its infancy, but it's like an infant growing up in a year and a half, right? Now
Yeah.
they're going to be a teenager. This is going to exponentiate so quickly, and the industry is going to be all over it for several reasons. First of all, cost, right? They can reduce costs. Second of all, they're already in a labor stressed market, so the smart companies are going to take advantage of whatever they can do to cut their labor costs. And if they can start completing projects earlier and sooner, they can do more projects. It's not only more profitable and push up, the margin by a couple points here and there. More profitable, more jobs equals more money. Maybe maybe I should get into construction.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a prime time, right?
Yes.
You mentioned Elon Musk, and I got to point this out. There will be some disruptors in the construction technology. My industry is currently seeing a lot of disruptors coming into it. And you're going to see that in construction technology. So you're going to see somebody like an Elon Musk come into the construction industry and just take over the construction industry. There'll be like a Suffolk Construction that just embraces technology that decimates their region or their area of construction. It's amazing, the technology. I can guarantee you construction companies today have somebody that's dedicated in-house, some of the bigger construction companies, to figure out these technologies, get them up and running and moving in construction.
Wow. Wow. If they're already dedicating, employees to that, then they're serious about it.
I mean, just as Mark Cuban says, eat their lunch, right?
Right.
He wants to eat everybody's lunch. Well, there's construction companies out there that want to eat everybody else's lunches. So
Yeah.
let's not let them. Let's help everybody we can. Embrace technology, cut their costs, increase their ROI.
Exactly. Because if how much did you say is coming into just Rhode Island or Massachusetts in infrastructure money?
$15 billion.
Oh my goodness. So that should be split amongst the construction companies, right? Who are building there should be more than one, is what I'm trying to say.
I bet any money that there'll be about 10% of the construction companies that grab up probably at least 50% of that money.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's the companies that can take advantage of it, right? The companies that invest into reducing their costs, streamlining their organization, making it available. Some construction companies are out straight; they can't get labor. They're gonna pass because they won't be able to perform, right? That's the double edge of construction is that you don't perform, you start to get a bad name,
Mm.
right? You start getting that bad name, you might as well just wrinkle the paper up and throw it in the trash can because now you won't be able to get jobs, right? So it's a very important. The construction companies like no other industry, right? If you're a month or two late with a product, yeah, I didn't get my computers in a month or two, but you think about the cost of a $50 million building, and those carrying costs don't go away, right? They got
Right.
the loans, they got the property, they got taxes, they got fuel, they got people, and all of those costs don't go away. So if you're a construction company that you cause a slowness, they're not going to hire you, right?
Yeah.
Even whether you're a sub or a general, you have bad safety record, they won't hire you. If you have bad finances, they won't hire you. Construction is a very challenging market, right? If you're not bondable, they won't hire you. So, and then eventually, if you don't have technology, they won't hire you, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. So there's a lot of moving pieces in construction, and you've got to get them all right. It sounds like to me.
Yeah, you got to get 50% of them right. The other 50 you can figure out, right? I mean,
You're
this
right.
is still construction.
Yeah. I get it. Okay. Well, Bob, wow, what a great topic this month. I think it's really interesting, and to see where construction is going, and realizing that construction is one of the biggest industries in the economy, right? I think it's like almost 5% of the economy.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
So to see where it's headed, really, it, you were talking about the phone. It's like Star Trek. Well, now we have every industry moving towards, Star Trek. And with most industries, when McKinsey in 2014 was talking about automation, they were talking about software, right? They weren't talking about robots like this that could actually go in and tie a whole bridge, all the rebar. That's just incredible.
Mike, in 5 years, 5 years, give or take some, you're going to start to see deliveries to construction sites by automated vehicles that don't have drivers, right?
Wow.
Transportation as a service in this country is going to make it so that you don't need a car. All of this is coming to the construction industry. All of this is going to benefit the economy, right? This is all going to benefit you.
Yes.
Right. The construction company is going to take advantage of that just like everybody else. And then you're going to start to see someday, probably I'd say within the next 10 years, you'll see this skyscraper being built by bots, right? And you'll see the skilled professionals down there monitoring the jobs, making sure that everything's happening. And these skyscrapers will go up in half the time they used to be because most of the stuff will be automated. We'll still need people to go in and do the intricate stuff, but a lot of that's going to be built into the buildings, especially with 3D printing. Think about this. They could build the plumbing and the wiring right into the building, right? You don't even need to do separate wiring or separate plumbing because they can have different 3D pieces do different materials. So they could build the pipes right into the wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. They're going to start off small. They're going to start off with a home.
Right.
And all of these technologies are eventually going to come together. You can see them all. When I started looking a few months ago at different construction technologies, I was aghast at how far they've come in such a short time, right? And now it's my passion to find as much construction technology and find out what's doing it, who's using it, where is it going, how can construction companies use it. It's really just a passion of mine, right? I don't sell the Jibot, I don't sell the SAM, I don't sell the Tybot, right? But I think it's great to bring this in front of my clients and in the construction companies I work with to make them aware. I had a prospect call us and say, hey, I don't really need your services. And then we started talking about Tybot. Wow, that would be useful. If you could talk to me about that, I would be definitely interested. So
Yes.
So
exactly.
this is where I am going to educate my customers and my team and my prospects on what's available out there. And it doesn't have a direct correlation to money to me, right? It's sort of my hobby, but eventually, eventually I will work with companies that are technology oriented, and I provide support for technology. So it's a great symbiotic relationship.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And that's why I feel like, construction companies should call Attain Technology, not that I'm
Yeah, pick up the phone, call me right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But you have deep experience in the construction industry and you know so much outside of just, bits and bytes, computers and hackers. You know the construction industry, you know the challenges it has. And, like you were explaining to me, which I feel like is just incredible. So construction was slow to adopt technology, and now all of a sudden they've got to jump on top of it. Just like suddenly they have to become advanced. So it's a unique situation for construction industry, and I feel like they need a guide. They need someone to help direct their thought a little bit on the technology.
Hey, Mike, I don't want to be just the IT that guy that comes in and fixes the computers. I want to add value, right?
Mm.
There's two type of companies out there. There's the companies that just come in and just do their piece, right? And yeah, they add a little bit of value here and there, but I want to find a way to add extreme value to my clients. And if I can offer them insight into some of the upcoming technologies and have webinars like this and talk about these technologies, and when someone's interested, make relationships with the people that I meet doing this, well, that's a win for me, right?
Mhm.
So sort of B&I has a giver's gain
Yes.
mentality, and I think that karma, right? It's all about karma. Everything you give, you will get back, and
Mhm.
that's really what I'm looking to do here.
Excellent. That's excellent. Well, Bob, it's been an amazing 45 minutes. I really enjoyed it, and as you can probably tell, because it's a really interesting topic, and it's when you're talking about the future, and especially with construction, it's just really interesting, and I know that everyone listening to this is going to get a lot out of it.
Well, that's great, Mike, and I just want to make sure that I take a couple moments, to say that, hey, I'm grateful for being able to do this webinar for you, and this is gratitude time of the year, November and December. So I want to be extra grateful. I want to be extra respectful. Hopefully you guys all have an amazing time with your family and spouse, and take some time and reflect, because it isn't all about work. We all do this for our families to make a great life. And I think we have a phenomenal life in this country. We are so blessed. And, if there's anything I can do to make you more blessed, let me know, and I'd be happy to do it.
Excellent. I agree. AttainTechnology.com. Bob Paradise is the owner, and just reach out to him with any questions that you have. I know that he's more than really, he'll tell you everything, and you'll have more information than you need, really, because
Yeah,
Bob's
schedule a 10-hour appointment today.
right, exactly. You're a giver. You're a giver. So that's incredible. So if you have questions and your construction company, definitely reach out today. So
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the time with you. And if there's anything I can do, let me know.
all right. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, everyone.